introduction. I must say that I got very excited when I saw who my partner for the discussion will be, because Le Pain Quotidien is one of my really favorite brands. So we are talking about how to successfully grow and localize a global brand. So obviously there is not too many best partners, for this discussion than Annick. And when we are looking at this topic, obviously it depends from which angle you would look at it, but I would say that there are three essential things to look at. So you have to find, define, and build your unique brand voice. Then obviously build your strong presence, not only physically, but also on the social media. And as we are in the hospitality, I think that devoting yourself fully to the customer service is one of the essential and key elements. Annick, would you agree with that? Would you add anything? And eventually, would you please share with us the values of your brand?
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, I think. And in defining the brand, that of course is very important. And our brand has been defined more than 30 years ago on the simplicity, authenticity, quality, and conviviality. Indeed, more than 30 years ago, Alain Couman, who was a chef and a cook, started its own restaurant but didn't find good bread. So he wanted to have quality bread, and so he started baking his own bread. And then he wanted to do that around a communal table, because he thought there are a lot of people that are maybe a bit lonely and are looking for some connections, meaningful connections. And that's how the Pain Quotidien started. So now, 30 years later, we did a check on those brand DNA, and we saw that all those 4 elements that make our brand are still very relevant today. And so we're still continuing with those same 4 brand values, which I think are very, very important.
I must say that when we are reading your website, you can really feel that the passion shines through.
Yes.
And I think it's really important for any brand. Like, you have to share the passion, and somehow the passion being all together around one table is definitely something we can find there. So how many countries you are present at, and which are your strongest countries where you build your presence at first?
Well, for the moment, we are present in 15 countries, but before the end of the year, we will be present in 20 countries. So we're opening this year 5 extra countries. We're opening Morocco, we're opening Greece, Uruguay, Luxembourg, and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And so we're very happy to build on the brand. If you ask me which are the strongest countries, it's a bit a mixed picture, I must say. Belgium, of course, stays a very important country, because it all started in Belgium, and in Belgium it's a very small country, but we're present in almost all the cities, and we have a very high brand recognition. But if I look to the other countries in the world, all the countries are very important, but I must say that in the Latin American countries, we have a very good presence. And I'm very proud of Argentina, because Argentina is a country where almost no international brands are present, and Pain Quotidien is very well known there and has known a huge development. Another country where we're very present is Mexico. In Mexico, we are also an international brand, but among other competitors such as Paul and Maison Kaiser. But our franchisee did a great job with developing the airports. For the moment, we have approximately 10 locations in the Mexico airports, and he's also started sub-franchising in Mexico. So I would say Latin American countries other than Belgium.
I find it absolutely impressive, only 30 years of history and such a tremendous presence. It's absolutely amazing. And then eventually, you are talking about the Saudi Arabia, and obviously you are present here, so this region is becoming very important for you also.
Yeah.
So let's say which kind of research you undertake and how extensive it is before you enter a new market?
Well, we always do a very extensive research, whether it's on macro or microeconomics. So we look at the size of the country, we look at the ease of doing business, we look at the culture. Is there a bread culture, or can we indeed build a bread culture? And then we will never do it alone. I really believe, I'm a strong believer in the franchise model, and so we'll always look for good local partners, but that are not only financial partners, but that also can do the operations, because the operations is key. And if I look, for instance, to Dubai, we have a great partner that is really developing the brand in an extraordinary way. We, of course, have the 80-20 rule, so 80% of all the dishes should be the same in all the countries, because you're a brand, so you should have this brand consistency. People go to brands because they trust them and because they want to find the 80% dishes, so the real signature dishes. But we also have 20% of local dishes that can be developed by the local partner, of course.
That's amazing. I think it's touching the point which was within the previous discussion.
Yes,
somehow.
yes. I really found a lot of similarities in the previous discussion, basically. But I think
really
that's the essence of being a brand, no? Being recognized and that people can trust your brand. I think
and I also love the brand tribe. I think
yes.
it's something you can definitely relate to as well, right?
Absolutely.
When it comes to the business strategy, so how much did it have to be adapted to the UAE market? So just on the really top level, the business strategy, how do you deal with that?
Well, I think our local partner is doing that in an extraordinary way. So she adapts the local dishes, but also she builds this community in Dubai, because of course you have 88% of expats in Dubai that have other needs than, of course, Belgian people or Latin American. And there it is amazing to see how she builds those community activities around the Pain Quotidien. So she does cultural events, she does bakery events, she does events for the kids, and that is really very nice to see how they adapt to the local community.
This is amazing. Then when it comes to, so this is let's say the business strategy, but how does the brand image and eventually the key messaging, including the logos and everything, does it somehow transfer from the global brand to the local UAE presence?
No, the logo and the image always have to be the same. When I arrived at the brand, we had about 40 different logos in the company. That is something we do not accept. We have to be aligned on the logo, on really the brand essentials have to be aligned. But that has never been an issue in Dubai. I mean, they always have respected very well the brand, and if you go to the shops, you will see it. But there we are quite strict.
And then when it comes to the local communities, you already touched this point, but somehow how you make yourself relevant, you know, to the local communities.
Well, I think every country really adapts to the local community because they know, and that's why we want to work with local partners. They know the country much better than we do, and they relate to the country and really give the exact elements that the country wants to find. So like for the expats, if you go to our shops, you have a whole wall where there are paintings made by clients in the local bakery and painted with our coffee. So it is really amazing to see how local elements are translated to Le Pain Quotidien brand essence elements. So that is really amazing.
So it's a true piece of art. And eventually also it goes with the local narrative, somehow trying to profile Dubai. Of course, it's a business hub, but also as a cultural and arts destination or hub even more. So this is amazing. And you know, when it comes to working with your team, would you agree that your company is as strong as your people are? You know, when it comes to skills development, eventually certain kind of personal development, how do you tackle this?
Absolutely. I think people make the business, right? You can have, if you don't have the people, then your business is not there. And that is a very strong element at Le Pain Quotidien. I've worked in several other chains before, and I was always jealous of the mentality of the people, of the staff of Le Pain Quotidien. And it is because they have a very strong training program, and they have this blueprint where how does a host have to act, how does the people have to feel in the restaurant, and how do we as a management have to give leadership to the teams. That is so strong, and this training, of course, throughout COVID, that wasn't an issue. We couldn't do a lot of training, and we felt it when the business started up again, that the people were weaker than 2 years before. So immediately, as COVID permitted it, as the situation permitted it, we started again with those trainings, with this blueprint, where there's a lot of teamwork and where people really do a lot of team events together in a very informal way, and it shows off when they're serving the clients also.
That's amazing. We are strong believers in that as well, and we actually in Katch International, we are PR communication agency, we launched Katch Academy, so somehow just to share the knowledge and build on the base that somehow we all share. Everybody is good in something, right? And eventually if we share this together, it becomes a great power, and then even touching the personal development, which is connected with eventually the way you after service your customer. It's something we are definitely paying attention to.
And I think the personal development is really great, and the hospitality business is very special for that, because I think it's one of the only industries where you can start without a lot of skills, without special skills, and grow until to be a managing director or a restaurant manager, whatever you want, and you really have those opportunities. So I think that's a great
it's very true. So just your passion and your will is actually the driver, and you can succeed very well. That's very true. Is there anything you would recommend, Annick, from out of your experience to someone who is somehow starting this journey, which your brand started 30 years ago? Is there anything you just need to focus as a priority?
I would say follow your passion and work very, very hard. I mean, nothing comes easy, but if you get up in the morning and do your work with passion and be convinced, and it's not always easy, but you have to keep going, I think then you will get there. And build a very strong brand. You need to have the brand essence right and keep to it. Don't go too wide, but stuck. Keep,
just to have a defined clarity in the brand identity, and just not go left and right, just keep it steady.
We know that we are very good, that we're a bakery, we're strong in breakfast and lunch. We're not focusing on the evening, because I think if you can develop your breakfast and lunch and get a 10% extra sales in your breakfast and your lunch, I mean, you're a winner. You don't need the third element where we're weaker. We don't do dinners. We're weaker at dinners. We're good at breakfast, brunch, lunch. Focus on what you're good at and develop it in a very positive way, I would say.
I love that. Thank you very much, Annick. I think that we are almost out of the time. Maybe we have time for one question from the audience. Is there someone who would like to ask Annick something when it comes to the beautiful brand?
Well, I think Annick will be around at the break, hopefully, anyway, so maybe you can grab Annick then. So
perfect. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure talking to you and learn something more
Thank you.
about Le Pain Quotidien.